I call this August 24th, 2026 work session of the Helena City Council to order. First item on our agenda is a review of all August 10th, 2026 agenda items. Oh, yeah, that's right. That should be this for this evening's city council meeting. Certainly. I know we've got a couple of we've got a couple of ordinances on our agenda tonight. One of those is an amendment to the moratorium ordinance. And I just want to give everyone here at this table and everyone in the audience some background on where that's coming from. When we enacted the moratorium on several property classifications here or zoning classifications here in our community for 6 months, that covered the entire process of applications, including preliminary site plan, business application, the whole process. We had a couple of applicants who had already initiated their action prior to the commencement of that moratorium. And so they, followed the good faith procedure of getting their applications in. One of them went all the way back to February of 2025. So they probably submitted that one, I guess, in January of 2025. That was for a B2, a couple of B2 lots down Highway 58. I was absent for that planning and zoning meeting, and it did not come before city council because it was just a preliminary site plan. That was for the larger parcel was for an Ace Hardware, and the adjacent parcel was for a convenience store with gas station. That passed the preliminary site plan approval. So the next step on that would be for, they had to go through certain due diligence with Shelby County Department of Transportation and I think one of the adjacent pipeline owners and Kinder Morgan. So they had to get some approvals negotiated with both of those parties. Those have just now been completed. So they're ready to go forward with their next step, which I think would be the building permit process. They may have some additional internal due diligence to finish before they start that, but it'll very likely be coming up before the end of this moratorium. The other one was was for a proposed Valvoline 2-bay oil change facility between Seven Brew and the future Helena Pharmacy location. That was also already zoned for B2, so that was in the process for preliminary site plan approval. That is the only, that's what this amendment to the ordinance is addressing. I spoke to Councilwoman Hammond earlier this morning, and would you like to discuss data center and maybe a standalone moratorium on that?
Sure. Thank you, President Dotson. As our conversation went this morning, we're looking at pulling out the data center moratorium from this existing moratorium and writing one that's standalone data center. It'll have more detail in it. And this is just a temporary solution until we have the results back from the zoning committee that is rewriting our zoning ordinances at this time. I don't know what that time frame looks like at this point. Do you have any idea, Brooke?
We're working through
that process, and I would begin with the rest of them, the time frame that I thought we'd be able to get it done. The meetings have been very productive. We're currently working through the sign ordinance. For instance, we've already spent almost 4 hours talking about revamping the signs, and we did have a discussion through the committee about if there was a way to parcel it off into individuals, take certain areas to try to expedite the process. And the consensus of the committee was the purpose of this is to get it right, not to get it fast. But we are working diligently. I will try to provide an update at our next meeting of an estimated time when I think it'll be complete.
Thank you. So expect to see at our next council meeting where we'll go ahead and present a full-fledged data center moratorium at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hammond.
Yeah.
Any additional discussion on this amendment to the moratorium ordinance? All right, seeing none. Let me just take a look here. I know we've got a couple of resolutions to read as well. I might see who wants to read some of those. Let's see. Councilman Wilson, would you like to read Resolution 2026-082 4A regarding Jace McGuire, former?
I have arranged for Alex Miller, who's a voluntary coach for the wrestling program, to be present and read it.
Okay, that's for a former Helena wrestling captain who tragically we lost a couple of weeks ago. So we'll have Mr. Miller, Coach Miller, I guess we should say in this format, read that. We've got Representative Pascal with a grant for the library. We have proclamation declaring September 13th through September 19th as Nephrology Nurses Week. Would anyone like to read that proclamation? Okay.
For those of you that don't know, I had to look it up also. Nephrology is related to kidney health.
Kidneys.
Yeah, I had no idea. So I'm just sharing that with you all.
Okay. Next, we have Resolution 2026-0824B, adopting transportation plan pursuant to the Rebuild Alabama Act. That's just acknowledging our participation in that act. Would anyone volunteer to read that one?
I'll read
it. Next, we have first reading of ordinance 1037-2026, amended, expanding the utility board from 3-member minimum to 5-member minimum.
You skipped one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 1043.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, that's it. Yep. Sorry, I was jumping too fast here. First reading ordinance 1043-2026, amended to provide for temporary suspension of the establishment or expansion of gas stations, auto parts, mechanic shops, automobile or manufactured home dealerships, and data centers. On this one, this is a first reading. This has been posted. I think is everyone okay with just reading the portion that we're changing on this, or do we want to read the entire ordinance?
I'm okay with the changes.
Just the changes.
Yeah.
Just the changes?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just, are those highlighted in there? So we,
I can
okay.
pull
All
it
right,
out.
we'll pull it out for the meeting. Thank
Okay.
you.
And then the next one, first reading of ordinance 1037-2026, amended, expanding utility board from 3-member minimum to 5-member minimum. I think technically that reads 5 or no more
Actually
than
give them
minimum
leeway to
3,
do anywhere from 3 to 7.
3 to 7. Yeah. So the ordinance, I remember looking at the ordinance the other day, and it is correct. So we can just read that section.
I'll do
Councilman.
that.
Okay.
That's-
All right. Next item is to approve or deny the amendment to contract for collection and disposal of solid waste for 1 year.
Can I speak to that briefly?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you could.
Yeah, so there was not what anyone would consider a normal transition in administrations. And I was not made aware that that contract was coming up until late spring in terms of the 3-year expiration. We all know we were focused on shoring up the budget, getting our budget through. At the time that I was made aware that it was expiring, there was not enough time to do a proper due diligence bid. Republic was asking for a 3-year extension or renewal. I think it's good measure from council to want to put it out for bid to see what other availabilities or other options we have for our citizens, but there was not enough time to get it done. So they've offered a 1-year extension, just 1 year. But with that 1 year, as is with the original contract, there are CPI increases in pricing. So that is all that this is. I've already talked to Joy Sadler. I believe she spoke to this when she was here and met with y'all last month, that we will begin the bid process, open bid process in late winter, early spring of this year to allow enough time to pick the best service provider for our citizens, as well as ensure that the transition, should we go to another provider, is smooth for our citizens. I think we all lived here through the transition from the city to Republic, and then Republic to Santec, and then back to Republic. And those were painful, to say the least, with missed trash dates, missing barrels. So
I have my trash can stolen by the trash company.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of the history of why we're doing a 1-year extension, what the price increase is. And I believe it was a $1.12, $1.15.
It's $1.08
Dollar.
for the franchise.
Correct.
fee.
So, and that again, in any contract that we have with the trash provider, there will be CPI increases embedded into the contracts. So that's just a little bit of heads up.
Mr. Mayor, can we take that increase and tie it to, because I'm sure it's because of gas prices have gone up. That's why we have to raise these rates. Can we tie that increase back to the gas prices? So when the gas prices come down, that rate comes down prior to.
That's a
the end of the year?
CPI. CPI is a factor that's a national factor that's applied by the service provider. So it's adjusted annually for that. The administrative, from a national standpoint, to try to come up with that monthly, because it's a standard that's set by the government. It's just not feasible, and we don't control that.
And it's quite possible that the company provides their employees with cost of living raises as well. I mean,
I don't know how Republic treats their people, but cost of everything has gone up over the last 3 years. Unfortunately, this is a part of any, and this will be the issue with, I would imagine, any service provider that we get for our trash collection.
What are they going to do? I know Joy was here and she discussed the hydraulic fluid and everything, but they're making $42 billion year after year, according to an article that was just published this month. So are they going to maintain their trucks better?
I've been in communication with Joy today about that issue. She's sending out the manager to one of the neighborhoods along with a street cleaning crew to try to begin to clean that up. One of the issues that we will want to take into consideration during the bid process is maintenance of the vehicles.
Okay. Just bringing issues up so we have them,
I understand.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Would there be any opposition, as we consider this item, if I move to strike the last sentence? Thereafter, the agreement or 3 parts. This agreement? I don't think it's necessary to have any reference to 7.
I have no opposition to striking that. Because whatever happens next will be a brand new agreement.
yeah, I think we need to structure this one towards an RFP next year for a new agreement. So I have no opposition.
It is solely for a 1-year extension.
We're going to strike the last sentence, beginning thereafter.
What did you get?
Thereafter, the agreement.
He wants to discuss it.
What section is that in, Jeff?
Term,
Oh, term.
which
I got you. I got you.
that should be section 1, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be numbered as section 1. I think, and that puts the burden upon us to go through the process of a new contract next year.
Correct.
The contract we're under now, I know we're coming off of a 3-year term. How far back does that contract go? Do you know?
I believe that contract was initiated. It's my understanding that originally Republic was awarded
Yes.
the contract when the city stopped providing the service. And then at some point, Santec got it.
Yeah, Santec was awarded the bid.
So this one was initiated,
Probably bought Santec back. So my guess is that the 3-year period began, and again, this is a guess. I don't know all the history detailed, that this 3-year period began on the acquisition of Santec by Republic.
yeah, it looks like this one, the one we're operating off of began September 1 of 2023.
Correct.
So, yeah, June of 23 was their first increase to $42.
June of 23 was Santec though, because they didn't, well, maybe it was. I thought that the September day was when Republic acquired Santec.
All right. So we're going to, everyone's on board with approving this with the deletion of thereafter the agreement may be extended for 1 year or 3 years upon mutual consent of the parties. Okay. We'll read that into the item when we have it on our city council approval. City council meeting approval. All right, next item on the agenda that we'll have discussion on is approve or deny the Shelby County Reporter Helena the Magazine FYE 2027 contract for 6 issues. There are 2 options presented in there.
I would recommend going with the one that 52,000, I believe.
Yeah, 8,800.
52.8. It's just some small differences in the quality of the materials going into it that could save us a couple grand over the course of the year.
Can we change anything on this contract, or is this what they're putting forth as?
I mean, we can go back to them with some questions.
The ad ratio, can we move that to like 60-40 where they have 40% of the ad and we get more content?
We can ask for that. Again, I guarantee, I would venture to guess the price would go up because they have a minimum revenue that they're going to have to take in, but everything can be levers. But when we ask for them to give up ad revenue, that cost is probably going to be at least partially passed on to us.
Zip codes, it says all city addresses. I noticed in the previous contract, they didn't add in the northern half of the 35022 zip code in the old contract. Can we make sure that that's included?
I will verify that. I'll take you to contract.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just, when we have items of this nature, and I think we did this a couple of weeks ago. For me, Mayor, it's probably more helpful to have the vendor present, because there may be a one-off question or
Yeah.
historical context that we want to hold them accountable to versus you communicating on their behalf.
That's fine. Yeah.
But I do, as it relates to this item, I think what I'm going to say is the savings realized. What is the plan for the savings realized from the reduction in the super?
We're running a very tight budget. My guess is it's going to go towards personnel somewhere. I have not allocated the savings to the $40,000 in savings to which line item that's going to.
It's going in the general fund.
Yeah, I have not gotten to the point where is that $40,000 going to shift to? But like I said, I can almost guarantee it'll be personnel.
All right. Where do we stand on, are we comfortable going forward on the first scenario at 52.8. I think it's $8,800 a month for 6 issues. Or do we need to ask for the difference in ad ratio and present it at our next meeting?
I'll be more than happy to go
Mhm.
back to Alec with any requests that we have that you guys would like to negotiate. That's again up to this body.
I would like to give it a week. Just because that way we can get, if there are any more questions that come up tonight or whatever. I mean, we're going to do the magazine. I just want to make sure that there are no questions and that if we do get questions, we'll be able to get a good answer on and like I said, just a few days is all, just give it a couple of days to kind of get these things summed up. There may be some changes that we want to add to it or take away. I don't know, whatever we can. I know I'm pretty good over there. So, they always bug me for ads. So Rhett loves to call me for ads. So
I think giving it a week is actually going to add 3 weeks because that'll be our next meeting.
yeah.
Correct.
Well,
That'll give Alec a chance to get here to join us for a meeting, so we can.
It will also put us in and I'm fine with that, where whether or not
Yeah,
they'll
but,
move forward with the October issue without being entered into a
I
contract
see.
for October.
You're right. I did.
So now, in good faith, they may move forward with going ahead and putting the October issue together without a contract. That's a question that I can pose to Alec.
Do we have any idea what savings would be recognized by doing it 60/40?
I
Can I
don't.
ballpark one?
I'm not in the print business. I have
$20
no-
a month.
I don't know what their ad revenue is to even be able to suggest what savings. I would think that it would be, this is just speculating. I wouldn't expect the increase per issue to go up more than $300-$400 maybe. I don't, but I can't speak to that. And he could come in and
Well, for a city on a tight budget, we need to look at $400.
Spend.
That's for sure.
so.
Yeah.
And technically, because again, it's not here. But under the terms, it says that basically this contract is effective in winter 2025. So I think they've actually acted in good faith on the winter 2025.
Pick up.
And it says that basically the combination of the agreement must be effectuated in writing, so. We really think October is a deal for us to have to rush.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fully committed to initiating an RFP process on this next year along the same time frame as the waste services contract. And I think that may be a good time to look at, what our options are in, ad share and then, the ad ratio and all those issues. Plus, it'll give us some time to see what this new staple print format looks like, 6-month distribution cycle, how that's working for, what our community feedback is on that.
And the one thing too, if we get into it, if we get to January and we want to make some changes, I feel as though Shelby County Reporter would be a good partner. And especially if we're, going to balance out any decreased ad revenue with an additional charge and we're comfortable with that, or we want to make a change, say one of the changes they put in, we get feedback that the community doesn't like. I'm sure we can go back and renegotiate and up something or lessen a feature, or I don't know, the binding or the stapling or whatever it may be, the print quality. So they've been a good partner with us up to this point, and I don't expect that to change.
Okay.
No, and I don't think we want to jeopardize that relationship.
No, not at all.
We just want to get, our
We're-
money's worth.
Of course.
Okay.
I do just want to maybe add a tweak to that. For me, personally, the relationship is less important versus the communication and messaging you want to have with constituents of the land.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not restricted. The Shelby County Reporter. So just picking up behind what Brooke said, whether it's an RFP or not, I don't necessarily think, I'm not saying this with any level of disrespect, I don't think any of us have mastered communication. So to the extent that we haven't, but that is what we want to project to the community, we need help with that. And I don't know, again, if we take the position that that's not in their purview, but clearly the constituents continuously tell us that we're not getting them the right information.
Well, and I had a conversation with Alec about that, and I'd be happy to, and I will get him in here for our September meeting. And you guys can have this discussion with him also, but we talked about, for lack of a better word, lightening the fluff. If there's something that's been going, a hot topic in the community or something that we see coming down the road, to do more of a journalistic article that actually delivers facts and delivers, this is why they did it. This is what they did. This is what the cause and effect on that issue is, to speak a little bit more to the issues. I know the magazine, half the people don't like it. They don't want to read it, but there is a large contingent of our community that loves the magazine. And I think that there needs to be a balance between speaking to the events in the community. And I'm not talking about social events. I'm talking about events that happen in these chambers, as well as honoring our citizens, our students, our athletes, our families, our employees.
You know, it'd be great to have it as a go-to magazine for upcoming events. A list of new ordinances that we just passed in the last 30 days. Just, we don't have to put the ordinance in there, just list it so that they can go and how to go find it.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to get more ways out there. You know, the more we say it, print it, share it, the better off we're going to be.
Well, and I agree. And that's why this magazine is the only thing, and I understand there's some addresses that are not getting it, and we're going to get with Alec with that, but overwhelmingly, this is the only mode of communication that hits almost every mailbox in our community. So I think that the messaging could be better. Now we have to balance that because we are going to buy monthly. So it's not going to be an every 30 day with the events. That may be a way for us to incorporate another communication medium about upcoming current events that's not just tied to the magazine. Those of us that are on social media, whether we want to be or not, know that everyone's not on social media. I'm sure when we were knocking on doors, you went to a house that had no idea that we were getting a new building or that the city had taken on the debt that they took on.
Or having an election.
Or having an election. I did have some folks that I was like, how'd you miss all the daggum signs? But
That could I can, you know,
yeah, exactly. So there's no doubt that content can be improved. And I think a meaningful discussion with Alec at the next work session would be good. And we'll put that on the agenda.
In as much, and sorry, excuse me, President. Slip of the tongue. I've already given the president notice. I will be out of town for work on the 12th. So as much that may be a full list, I may miss it. And I can't use the exception of being sick to participate virtually. So I'm just putting it on the record. I hate to miss, but.
Is it the 12th? It's Monday the 14th.
14th.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's, yeah.
Oh,
What did he say?
okay.
Maybe that ought to.
You got a couple of ones in the back there. Like a zoo restaurant. So,
speaking for you, you know.
But I'm good. I've already talked to the president about it. So.
Okay. All right.
All right. That's it for our agenda items. I know one thing we do need to discuss. Do we want to set special sessions for the budget hearings? Do we want to set those at this time or discuss those at this time?
What I'd like to do is I'd like to propose kind of what we talked about and as a framework.
Mhm.
And Patty Morrow has worked tirelessly to get some of our revenue reconciled and to get the items that we need for the budget. She got me a clean copy of the budget early Saturday morning for me to be able to really dig in. I think that what you and I discussed, and correct me if I'm wrong, is a special call meeting next week, followed by for just all departments other than admin and public safety, and then a meeting the following week for public safety and admin. Then the 14th is the following Monday. We'll have our regular council meeting, and then I like the idea of doing a public hearing where we can button up any loose items that third week of September within a budget vote on the 28th. We can shoot for Monday. Let me dive in. I did not have a chance to review it today.
Certainly.
And we will, of course, give 48 hours notice to the public
Right.
on when that special call meeting is. I will personally post it on my mayoral page as well as the city page that we got that budget coming.
So can we go back to the Rebuild Alabama?
Sure.
I have a couple of questions in regard to it. As you know, I asked about the payment that we just did to Massey Asphalt. That all went to a county road. What allocations out of Rebuild Alabama are going to the residential streets?
So we are working through, we did not have a paving budget for this year. We've done patchwork. I've asked Jason Poe, our Public Works Director, to work with Blair Perry to not only allocate the Rebuild Alabama Fund to city streets, but also our 4 and 7 cent gas tax. There's some other fund sources that we get that have been just sitting. The prior administration weren't using them. So I've asked him to get with Blair, go over the engineering study that rates the roads and come up with a paving plan for next year. So that's a very good question. I don't have an answer for you now, but I've already directed us to begin to put that together. I do not expect to have that paving budget for those funds done by September 30th. I'm working on the general fund budget, but I should have that to you, I would say, first quarter fiscal year 27 of what we can expect and the priorities and how those funds will be expended.
So say they won't necessarily be in the general fund budget. How are you going to segregate?
So as I provided last year, I did the different fund budgets. You had your general fund, your education fund, the 1 cent bond fund, all those funds. There was not a per se budget. There's never been a capital projects budget, which is what paving is. The city's never had one. So that'd be a budget amendment that I come back to y'all with after September 30th for the use of for lack of better words, the right-of-way funding, the rebuild fund, the 4 and 7 cent gas tax that are all used for paving.
I believe in the past, previous administration did have like a 5-year paving plan at one time. I don't know that they followed it very well,
Yeah.
but I think they tried to establish one.
I know the
encourage it
prior-
the same.
Yeah, the prior administration paid, I believe it was Sane Engineering to do a study in 2022. One was had begun to be put together, but again, I don't know to what extent it was followed or carried through with.
I know there was a list last year because I was checking on some streets, and I know there was a list because Jason was nice enough to provide, he kind of show it, but I don't know how far that
Yeah.
went. So
But we've had no city street paving projects this year.
I know.
I'm just
No, I understand.
being clear. That's a goal for
understand.
fiscal year 27 to begin. What I found, and I think Patty found also, was a lot of funds, the restricted funds, had been parked for a long time, and they weren't utilized to the full extent. For instance, our impact fees. Impact fees were segregated and not utilized. One of the things that we've begun to do is utilize those funds. The Public Works Department has an impact fund that it can be used for anything having to do with the right of way. So in looking into the regulations surrounding that, we realized that like any replacement parts, lawnmower bags, blades, the trash bags that are used for the right-of-way cleanup, all of those could be paying out of that impact fund, which will relieve a little bit of stress on our general fund. So it's just taking time to work through, okay, what are these funds supposed to be used for? What are they restricted to? And how can we then make sure that we utilize those funds instead of just parking them? Same thing with the Parks and Rec. They've got an impact fund. We've utilized that this year. We put in a new gazebo, or not a gazebo, a new, no, we haven't done the pier yet, but a new pavilion at the sports complex with a concrete pad. We've utilized it for some additional benches in Lee Springs Park. We're utilizing part of that impact fund for the refurbishing of the bathrooms at Cahaba Lily Park. The county came alongside. They were covering, I think, 80%. I was going to go to that in my mayoral update. They came to the table with 54,000 and we're chipping in 18. So we're beginning to utilize those funds to begin to provide the community improvements in their amenities.
I just want to make maybe one observation, and if you'll, as it relates to the rebuild program, it is a general fund. It is just earmarked specifically for roads. So whether we call it
Correct.
whether we call it capital or something else, it's a general fund obligation because you're collecting it and it's restricted to the use for road.
That's correct.
So it should go up maybe
As a revenue.
Right. Yeah.
Any additional questions or comments on the rebuild expenditure? Any other questions or comments on tonight's agenda items?
It's just before you should going back to discussion that we have. Unless something changed, each of you should have a copy of the reserve fund for you. I know it's kind of aspiration, so to speak, but until we start placing restrictions on ourselves relative to any money that we see available that can be rainy day or reserve fund. I don't have the entire historical context. I think the council around 2008 insisted that money was moved to the reserve fund, even to the point where it exceeded their expectations. So it started to cause a problem for the city in terms of its general fund obligations, but they reached that threshold. I don't think we have one now. And so if there's a downturn in the economy, where does that leave us in, other than going to get a line of credit to go internally to lessen the blow, any loss of revenue that we may experience if we don't have a reserve fund? The idea is to push us towards nickel and diming our way to being solvent or having a rainy day account. Right now, I don't think we have that.
Well, we do have a reserve fund. It's got 1.4 million in it, which is the amount it had when we came in November, which was a shock to me because I was under the impression from prior comments that it was about 2.5 million. We have not, what now?
But there were no restrictions.
Right. We have not touched that in any way. We have not taken from it, nor have we added to it. I think the idea of a rolling reserve fund with a stipulated codified percentage of any surplus to be shifted is very prudent and fiscally responsible. Last year, our audit showed it wasn't an $11 million deficit. It was down to, I think 1.2 million deficit that our expenses exceeded our revenue. While I do not expect it to be 1.1, 1.2 million this year, I still do not expect us to be in a surplus position this year. I can tell from what I have seen thus far, our departments have done an outstanding job reining in expenses. And I believe we're going to find that we've come in under budget on many of the line items in each of the department's budgets. So while I'm 100% for this, it may not be this year that we're able to start to put back in there. But I think as a goal for us as a body to work towards that, to beginning to replenish that back to a safe, sustainable level is admirable. And I think that's what we're charged with in this position.
So in one of your messages to us, and it could have even been in the minutes, I know going into 27, we're going to upgrade the software. So the data that we get back in the budget will be more granular, so we can track it. But I guess as it relates to the 12-month cycle of the budget should technically be spent in 1/12.
Correct.
We don't have a way other than, proving bills to really track if each department is on schedule. So in as much you can make an amendment adding money to, you can make an amendment reducing money and moving it to the reserve
100%.
fund. So I think our ability to track the monthly use of revenue in the department puts us in better shape versus waiting to the end of the year. I know in the ordinance we speak to September 1st. That's to give everyone basically an 11-month run to utilize the fund. But basically, I think we have people in seats who should know how to manage their budget and can do it very effectively. But to the extent that we don't have a way to accurately check that,
Well, and my goal has been to be able to provide you all that. And if there's one area that I believe, and I'll take responsibility for missing, was being able to provide you all that. And I understand why it's frustrating. Patty coming on and the work that she's doing, the implementation of Tyler, if that's who we choose to go with, that's a 9 to 12 month implementation. So that's exceeding out another 12 months.
as in like New World type of technology.
Mhm.
Okay.
Or whatever accounting platform we go, you guys will definitely be involved in that decision process. When we get there, hopefully late this fall. My goal is to be able to begin to provide those to you with similar to what you guys saw last year, what you guys saw middle of this year, and what you guys are going to see. It's going to be the same format for this budget year. I believe with a full-time financial director, as well as now we've got an AP position filled, we will be able to provide something more timely to y'all to be able to monitor that. So thank you for your patience thus far. We are working diligently to correct that, to give you guys the tools you need to monitor it on a monthly basis.
And this may be premature. Cause some anxiety, so, yeah, that's okay. I am partial to the addition of someone who enforcement, where I value the professionals in this building. I value our public works. I value our first responders, but we need a person to enforce code enforcement.
So we're covering a lot tonight, but so one of the things that you'll be seeing probably next, probably on the September 14th agenda, is the addition of a new position in our building inspection department. In reviewing the fees with Gresham Smith, we are currently paying somewhere between the $80,000 to $90,000 range for MS4 testing, which is our testing of our retention ponds in the community. In talking with Mr. Perry, he believes that if we were to bring that in-house, that would be, 3 to 4 days a month, maybe, and probably would be able to save us $25,000 annually on MS4 testing, and we would pick up an additional 15 or so days a month that we could target at least half of that time towards code enforcement. So I hear you. I know that has been a big thing in the community, but there is a plan to move forward with someone who's at least tasked with a significant portion of their time code enforcement. We have improved. I know there's been 8 or 10 notices put out in the last 2 to 4 weeks on code enforcement. So we're moving in that direction, and this position, should you guys approve it at the next meeting, I think will be we'll continue to improve in that area.
So on the ordinance, if it's okay with you guys, if we can push our feedback to Attorney Hayes Then maybe we make a determination if it's gonna move forward.
Push it back to,
The draft.
for his
This is a
review.
draft, right,
Yeah.
for his review.
Yeah.
Then take flight. He gets feedback, that's all right.
Yeah, and that timeline to me lines up very well because you potentially could have a first reading at the 14th meeting in September and then be voting on both the reserve resolute or ordinance at the same time as the budget. And we're starting fiscal year 27 out with both in place. So I think the timing is good.
Smart. I like it.
Well, we'll follow up with Attorney Hayes on any feedback anyone has on Councilman McDaniel's proposed ordinance there and go from there. I know the past few years I've been like a broken record on the reserve fund. I want to get it back to more than $1.4 million for sure.
Ping pong last year, watching the reserve. It's this, then it's this, then it's this, and back and forth. So
Well, at least I can tell you it's been 1.4 since the day I
Yeah.
took office and it's
That's
still
good.
1.4.
it had wings on it at one time. That sucker took off to a higher level, then dropped.
All right, so that covers that item, discussion of the ordinance regarding the reserve fund parameters. We do need to step back in our work session agenda here. Was there anything else on tonight's agenda items to discuss? Any other questions or comments? Okay. AP and bill payments, we received those from Patty over the weekend. Any questions or comments on the AP and bill payments reports?
Just
Yes.
the renovation, I know it was for the municipal the new old city hall, new municipal building. I thought that was going to be all done in-house. For a conversation you and I had months ago that we were not outsourcing that the police and firemen were going to be doing it themselves.
They did a majority of it themselves. All the renovations that were done, had we bid it out and gotten a contract to do it, would have been probably close to $100,000. Right now, we have $23,000 23 to 24 that we've expended, which is within their repair and maintenance capital improvement budget. So it's not outside the budget that was approved. And I think it's commendable that they got all the work done that they did.
Amen.
So
They're multi-talented.
yeah, absolutely.
Are they for hire?
I don't
I'm sure
think
there's
so.
some task involved there that permitted work you're not allowed to do anyway.
Right.
So there is that.
They paid for we outsourced electrical, drywall, and paint, and some fixture replacement. But the majority, all the framing was done in-house. All the demo work which would have been $15,000 to $20,000 in of itself was done by our police and fire. The framing, so the vast majority was.
I'll add that walking into that building and seeing our two chiefs with sleeves rolled up and doing manual labor like that, it's very commendable. And you wouldn't see that in most cities.
I can't think of one.
It's a lot of multitasking.
Yes, that's the one thing about Helena. We all wear a bunch of different hats.
Any other questions or comments on the AP and bill payments reports? All right, seeing none. Next item is a review of the August 10th, 2026 meeting minutes. We received those. Everybody had a chance to review those. Any questions? Yep. Next item on our agenda is update from council boards and committee business. We do have two resignations to address. We have a resignation of Karen Curtis from the Helena Historic Preservation Board, and we have a resignation of David Landrum from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Any questions or comments on those two items? I know we'll need to, solicit applications for both of those vacancies.
Can we replace, or do we have to wait for everybody to ask for applications? How does that process work?
Was it Do they hold an office?
No.
If not, okay, then, I mean, for backfill in the past, okay, we've just asked, we've reached out and they still had to fill out an application, but we just reached out to get somebody to fill that void in that spot because next year, it'll roll around next year and you'll do it again. But for volunteer spots, I mean, if we get a body in there, we were happy to get a body in there. Yeah.
I like that answer. Thank you.
Okay. Any other any other updates from council boards or committees?
Hats off. The shed got moved. The farmer's market is ecstatic. And this Saturday, I was not able to attend. I had another charity event I had to go to. But they said it was an outstanding crowd. And so whoever went maybe provide a better update than I could, but they said it was an outstanding crowd for the pop-up this weekend.
Even with the heat. I was not able to make it either, but
And somehow I missed news of the pop-up market,
Yes.
and I noticed that my daughter's two favorite vendors were there.
Now, I know it's been brought up in the past. We got to go to Kinko's. We get a sign up there that says the park. Because the people saying coming from Old Town and this section,
well, I'm not
if it
gonna,
wasn't for the flags.
I'm
they
not
wouldn't
gonna have anything in my mayoral update. Next
Oh, sorry.
part. Because the renovations on the bathrooms came in significantly under budget and the county has allocated some of the grant funding to replacing the sign
Forget that
at
question.
Cahaba Lily Park.
Forget that question.
Well, no, you guys are just gonna get a really brief mayoral update. This has been a very thorough work session.
Well, at least I didn't ask you about the reconstruction.
Well, I'll get to that. Thank you for leaving that out. I've got something to talk about.
Ten 2026 as amended, section 4, appointment authority. All appointments under this ordinance shall be made by a majority vote of the city council.
Yeah.
Unless otherwise preempted by state law. So that's one. And then the other one, I just kind of stumbled up on some things over the weekend. Park Development Board, the medical clinic, public parks and recreation. All of those exist under the league's name. They are not included in the ordinance. I don't know if we need to find someone to give us some historical context of these, but at some point we need to do several things. We either need to dissolve them because they serve no purpose, or we need to bring them current and add them to our ordinance. I can't say in which order we need to do what, but the history of these boards and why they were created may serve some purpose before we take any action.
Yeah, I know when you brought the commercial development board to my attention, I knew that in recent years, there had been a transition, I think, from a industrial development board to an economic development board or
Well,
the other
I
way
think
around.
the commercial economic board that he's referencing ceased this years ago when there was discussion and still is ongoing discussion about developing an IDB, industrial development board, that would replace that.
Which we had one a few years ago, like.
It just never was fully constituted. The ball start, well, I think it was, and then it disbanded. And so Attorney Hayes and I have been discussing putting that back together. Honestly, we haven't had the bandwidth with some of the other things we've had going on. That's still on the list of, we need to get to it sooner than later. The Parks and Rec Board, I will tell you, historically, we didn't have a Parks and Rec department, and that board ran the parks and ran youth sports. And I believe that ceased when the Parks and Rec department was developed in the mid 2000s. I believe Representative Halsey served on that up until it was done.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I have one question here. I forgot to bring it up. The Helena Market Days, they had a question on clarification regarding liability insurance. Are they covered under the city's liability? If not, then we need to, because to be considered to operate as a farmer's market, they have to be covered under some form of insurance. And so we just need to check on that.
I'll make a note.
yeah.
I don't.
I don't know. I couldn't find anything.
My guess is that all of our boards are covered under our policy.
Right.
But Not 100% sure on
Not
that,
either.
but we'll get you that information.
That was a question they brought to me Saturday because it's time to redo their
Yeah.
farmers market certification.
I'd be shocked if they're not, but I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, perfect.
Any additional questions or comments on, or topics on, update from council, 558?
Intermission.
5:57.
That's actually early,
So just about-
5:55.
And Mr. President, I'll push this.
Certainly.
I did send an email out regarding this. If y'all would please review it. This is something that we're looking. I talked to State Rep Pascal this weekend about it, and I haven't talked to Ms. Holsey yet on in regards to it. It's something that I want to try to bring to the school system. I met this author, Larry Thornton. It's a great story, and we'll talk at a different date because for time purposes. But look at the email I sent you guys, kind of watch the video, see what it's doing for the youth and the history of the state.
Okay, so we'll push the
Yeah.
discussion of, why not win to, probably September 14th.
Yeah.
All right. Any additional business for this work session to be discussed? All right, seeing none, I'd like to remind the public that if you wish to sign up for public comment, please do so with the city clerk before we start our city council meeting. I'm gonna, since it's 5:56 now, I'm gonna push our city council meeting to begin at 6:05.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This work session is adjourned. Sorry. I called this August 24th, 2026 Helena City Council meeting to order. First item on our agenda is our invocation, and I would like to invite Pastor Josh Canarum from the Church at Old Town to deliver the invocation.
Well, thank you, council, so much. And folks, it's an honor to get to present this invocation prayer. Grateful for this city and the opportunity to serve in it. And let us go to God in prayer. Holy Lord, we thank you that you are so gracious. And Lord, you have given us so many gifts, so many blessings that we cannot count. We thank you for this city. We thank you for those who serve here. God, we thank you for the giftings, the wisdom, and the experiences you've given each one as you've called them to this purpose. And so, God, I pray for each one today as we gather together to meet. Pray that you would give wisdom and that you would give guidance. God, we pray that they would continue to pursue in a humble adoration of your will, God, that they would seek the welfare and the common good of this city. God, we thank you for all of those who make this place possible. And God, we pray for the residents of this community, many who are starting school and getting their school year kicked off. And we pray that you would continue to just help those children get acclimated into the school system. God, pray that their teachers, pray for the administrators, that it would be a blessing of a year. God, we pray protection for this city. We pray that you would continue to have your hand upon it. And God, that you would bless it with safety, with unity. God, we pray that you would also give us a commitment to peace and the common good. God, we thank you for unity and that it is found in you. God, may you be a lamp for our feet today in this meeting. God, give us that wisdom. Give each person the ability to understand what this place needs. And God, we thank you that you are the giver of those gifts. We thank you for all that you do for us. We thank you for this time, this gift. And God, ultimately, we thank you for your son. And that's in Jesus' name that we do pray these things. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Canarum. Next on our agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask Councilman McDaniels to lead us in that. Next item on our agenda is council roll call. Madam Clerk.
Present.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
We have a quorum. Next item on our agenda is presentation of minutes from the August 10th, 2026 meeting. We've received and reviewed those. Any questions or comments on the minutes from August 10th, 2026?
No, Mr. President.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the August 10th, 2026 City Council work session and meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The minutes are approved. Next item on our agenda is revenue report and AP bill payment. We've also received and reviewed those. Do we have any questions or comments on the revenue report and AP bill payment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the revenue report and AP bill payment.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The revenue report and bill payment is passed. Next item on our agenda is our municipal operations report from Mayor Billy Rosner.
Hey, good evening, council. Like I said just a brief while ago, a lot of what I had in my mayoral report came up during the work session today, so this may not be quite as long as I thought it was going to be. Kids did go back to school, and congratulations to all those parents for getting them back out of your house into the school. You get your days back. Thank you to our police department Traffic seemed to be much better this year at the start of school than it has been in years past, especially on the 261 corridor. Getting right into Parks and Rec update, we've got football games are starting tonight with the youth football. Good luck to all the teams. Fall practice for baseball and softball, soccer is all starting this week also. Quick update on Parks and Rec projects. We've got, I mentioned this, but we do have renovations going on at Cahaba Lily Park to include the restrooms as well as a new sign. We want to, again, thank the county for coming alongside of us and partnering with us on that project. They're contributing about $55,000 and we're going to put in 18. Again, that will be coming out of the impact fund. Another update, I know it's been discussed and I've touched on it early. There was significant bond taken out for improvements to the Parks and Rec with new fields. We are currently exploring a new site that's ongoing. Those funds, the $23.5 million, are parked at Regions, and they will be utilized for fields. The new site would potentially have considerably less site prep work, so those dollars will go directly towards amenities for our kids and our citizens. Getting on to the library. I want to thank Representative Pascal for coming tonight to provide a check to our library, to Dan, the librarian. I think he gets more grant funds than anybody. So we welcome the support. Thank you, Representative Pascal. And tomorrow, I know this is short notice, but the Chick-fil-A cow will be arriving at the library at around 11 a.m. for story time. We're just wondering whether or not he's going to drive himself there in his cow costume or not. Dan has assured me that he'll get me a picture if that's the case. Also, our Helena High School football starts this Thursday at Moody. The game starts at 7. We want to wish Coach Busby and our young men a good season. Those of you that can make it out, they sure would like some support on the road. Again, an item that was out there a lot the last couple of weeks is we unfortunately had to tear down the pergola, not gazebo, the pergola by the caboose. Jason Poe, our Public Works Department, is working on getting quotes. We should have those in this week. We will get that rebuilt before the pumpkin decorating comes this fall, and it will be put back just as it was. That leads me into an area that I really want to focus on is our employees, our department heads, and all of our employees. We're doing more with less than any other municipality out there. We touched on this during the work session. Had we bid out our municipal building to contractors, there's no doubt that would have come in somewhere around $100,000. Right now, our cost on the police side is coming in less than $25,000. And that's a testament to our police officers, largely our leadership with Chief and Captain Hudson, and rolling up their sleeves and getting the work done themselves to save all of us, money that could be used in other places. Again, Madam Clerk Rowland, she has stepped into a role in the last 2 months and then transitioned out of the court clerk, but had to step right back into it to train 2 new magistrates. She's been working tirelessly to fill the gaps while we bring everybody up to speed. Patty Morrow has been with us for 3 or 4 months. She's found many areas to improve efficiencies already out of the gate, but it has been a huge lift to get everything cleaned up and new processes in place. If you drive by here many evenings, late into the evening, you'll see lights on this side of the building on the 2nd floor, and that's Patty up here working to try to get us pointed in the right direction, get these financials in a position where we can provide council monthly updates in order to help them do their job. If you look around the table in front of y'all with our leadership, there's not one of those folks that knows what a 50-hour work week is, let alone a 40-hour work week. Everybody here is doing everything they possibly can to move this city forward. And I'm just honored to serve with this group and see what we're going to be able to do. So that's all I have for y'all tonight, unless I have any questions from council.
I have no questions.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 2026-0824A, a resolution recognizing the life of Jace McGuire, a former Helena wrestling captain. And Alex Miller will be reading this resolution.
A resolution honoring the life and legacy of Brandon Jace McGuire. Whereas Brandon Jace McGuire was born on June 2nd, 2006, and departed this life on August 9th, 2026, at age 20. And whereas Jace was known throughout the Helena community as a young man with exceptional character, hardworking, respectful, and possessed a true servant's heart, always dedicated to helping those around him. And whereas as a student athlete at Helena High School, Jace served as a captain on the high school wrestling team. During his senior year, he earned the distinction of a state qualifier in 2025, demonstrating leadership, discipline, and excellence both on and off the mat. And whereas following graduation, Jace answered the call to public service by completing the Alabama Department of Corrections Academy and serving with distinction at Donaldson Correctional Facility. And whereas, in recognition of his dedication and hard work, Governor Kay Ivey presented Jace with a challenge coin in April of 2026 on behalf of the Alabama Department of Corrections. And whereas, even while fulfilling his professional responsibilities, Jace continued to give his time and talent by returning to the Helena High School wrestling room to assist his coach and mentor young athletes, embodying the spirit of service that defined his life. And whereas, Jace's ultimate goal was to become a police officer so that he might help as many people as possible. And whereas on August 10th, 2026, one day after his passing, his family was notified that Jace had successfully completed all the required testing and had been accepted to the Birmingham Police Department Academy, with a start date of today, August 24th, 2026. Whereas, though his time among us was far too short, the example of his integrity, service, and quiet leadership left by Brandon Jace McGuire will continue to inspire the youth of Helena and wider the community for years to come. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council and the City of Helena that we do hereby honor and celebrate the life of Brandon Jace McGuire and extend our deepest sympathy and gratitude to his family and formally recognize the lasting impact of his character, his service, and his commitment to others. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to the family of Brandon Jace McGuire as a lasting expression of the City of Helena's respect and appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Miller. Next item on our agenda is, we have State Representative Kenneth Pascal from Alabama State District 73, presentation of a grant to the Jane B. Holmes Public Library. Representative Pascal and Mr. Deering. We always appreciate these visits.
He's ready.
Here's the plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Representative Pascal. Next item on our agenda is proclamation declaring September 13th through September 19th, 2026 as Nephrology Nurses Week. And Councilman McDaniels will be reading that proclamation.
Nurses here this evening, Mayor? Okay, all right. Proclamation on behalf of Mayor Rosner. Nearly 37 million Americans suffer from kidney disease, and every year, many Helena citizens, including children, adults and older individuals, are diagnosed with kidney disease. And whereas the depth and breadth of nephrology nursing profession meets the different emerging kidney diseases and other healthcare needs of the population of Helena, and whereas the American Nephrology Nurses Association is working to advance quality care to Helena citizens with kidney disease before they suffer complete organ failure, increase awareness in the local communities, positively influence patient outcomes, and keep nephrology nurses abreast of the latest treatments and kidney-related research. And whereas nephrology nurses function as educators, direct caregivers, and coordinators to help patients manage their lives while effectively dealing with their health issues, and whereas the number of new patients diagnosed with kidney disease has doubled in each of the last 2 decades, the demand for nephrology nurses will persist to expand as this trend is expected to continue. And whereas more qualified nephrology nurses will be needed in the future to meet the increasingly complex needs of patients who are experiencing or at risk for kidney disease. And whereas along with the American Nephrology Nursing Association, the Hazel Taylor chapter of the American Nephrology Nurses Association has declared the week of September 13th through 19th, 2026 as Nephrology Nurses Week to celebrate and to honor the unselfish work nephrology nurses perform each day to maintain the health of thousands of individuals with kidney disease. Therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Billy Rosner designates the week of September 13th through 19th, 2026 as Nephrology Nurses Week and asks that all residents of Helena join him in honoring the nephrology nurses who care for patients with kidney disease. Be it further resolved that the residents of Helena celebrate nephrology nurses' efforts to advance patient care and reduce the incidence of kidney disease, and to show our appreciation for nephrology nurses, not just during this week, but at every opportunity throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman McDaniels. Do we have anyone from Nephrology Nurses Association here tonight? Okay, thank you. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 2026-0824B, resolution adopting the transportation plan pursuant to the Rebuild Alabama Act 2019-2. Councilman Healy.
Resolution number 08242026B. Resolution adopting transportation plan pursuant to the Rebuild Alabama Act 2019-2. Whereas the 2019 Alabama legislation had passed an HB 2 to levy additional excise tax on gasoline and diesel fuel. And whereas the city of Helena is to receive a portion of said tax based on the ratio of population of each municipality to the total population of all municipalities of the state. And whereas the city of Helena pledges to keep this money in separate funds and expend only for maintenance, improvements, replacement, and construction of roads, and as mandated by the law passed. And whereas the act provides that the city of Helena shall adopt an annual transportation plan no later than August 31st for the fiscal year 2027 based on an estimate of revenues. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Helena estimates that its anticipated allocation for the Rebuild Alabama Act Fund for the fiscal year 2027 will be approximately $200,274.00 to be used for street maintenance, improvement, replacement, and construction of roads within the City of Helena, with the increasing allocations for each fiscal year thereafter, passed and adopted by the City Council in the City of Helena, Alabama, this 24th day of August, 2026.
Thank you, Councilman Healy. I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2026-0842B, adopting the transportation plan pursuant to Rebuild Alabama Act 2019-2.
So move.
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
All right, the resolution for Rebuild Alabama passes. Next item on our agenda is first reading of ordinance 1043-2026, amended to provide for a temporary suspension of the establishment or expansion of gas stations, auto parts, mechanic shops, automobile or manufactured home dealerships, and data centers. Just to give some background on this amendment to this ordinance, this is to accommodate a couple of applicants who had started their process, their due diligence and application process prior to the city enacting this moratorium. And as a good faith measure, we're respecting their, this is to respect their submission of applications prior to that. One of these goes back to February of 2025 when it appeared on the planning and zoning meeting as a preliminary site plan approval for a hardware store and a gas station, a convenience store with a couple of gas pumps down Highway 58, and in a property that was already zoned for B2. The other one is for a parcel in between the current 7 Brew and the future home of Helena Pharmacy. That one was already zoned B2, and they had begun, I think, their application, I think, in the spring prior to the moratorium taking place. I'll read, we'll post this amended ordinance, but I will read the relevant language, which is in sections C and D of ordinance 1037-2026 amended. All activities relating to the acceptance, review, and action upon new applications for issuance of building permits, site plan approvals, business licenses, and any other official City of Helena action, excluding zoning applications, business license applications flowing from prior zoning applications, or zoning board of adjustment actions received on or before the effective date of this ordinance that would authorize or permit new or expanded gas stations, auto parts stores, mechanic shops, automobile or manufactured home dealerships, data centers, and other industrial uses, or would create any vested rights that would authorize such new or expanded uses to be constructed, shall be suspended for 100 days from the effective date of this ordinance, subject to subsection D infra. D, during the time the temporary suspension is in effect, and subject to the terms of this ordinance, the City of Helena will not accept applications, and no such new activities shall be permitted within a perpendicular measurement of 500 feet from the center line of highways 17, 52, excluding shared roadway with Highway 261, 58, and 95. So as I mentioned earlier, this is going to 2 specific properties that were already in the process of approval for their use in the preliminary site plan approval. I'll entertain any questions or comments from council on this. This is just the first reading at this time. All right, seeing none, I'll open the floor to public comment on this item. And if you'll please state your name and address, and limit to 3 minutes, please.
Francis Hines. My address is 2744 Helena Road. I came to do a fashion show. She's handled with care. The board was what we represent. We are always there when we have different meetings. We try to protect the integrity of the town. Sometimes it's not going over too good. For instance, the front street is history. It is really history. There's not anything we can do to save Front Street, but we are trying to save some of the other history, as much as we can. When all this work started, I was approached by one of the city people, the city employees, and he told me, he said, Ms. Hines, if you don't sell your property, or if you don't vote to sell your property, he said, everybody around you has already changed and got permission to go B1 or B2. And he said, if you don't sell, said, you're going to be left sitting right in the middle. And I thought, well, okay. So I called all the people, and, they hadn't voted to go into the town. And I thought, well, if this is going to happen, then everything's going to be right on top of everybody. So we'll just have a parking lot and charge everybody to park. That was the only thing we could think of. And I firmly believe that one of the council members from the other council members approached me one day, and I said something about what was going on. And she said, well, everything that I have voted for was for the betterment of the town. Well, what about the people of the town? Where do we come in? We're not being protected. Our integrity of our town is not being protected. I don't think that an oil change is a good idea on Front Street. I call it an oil pit. I don't think it's a good idea to have it right next to the Seven Brew. I was thinking that the moratorium might have something to do with it, but I think maybe I'm here for no good reason. But at least I let you know how I feel, and I hope some of you will let other people know how you feel, because they don't know how we feel unless we let them know. I firmly believe that I can't say that the city can hold them responsible for anything that has already happened. They aren't responsible. But anything that happens in the future, you are responsible. And I think the people of Helena and myself, we should hold you responsible. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Mrs. Hines.
Thank you.
Please state your name and address, and please try to leave, please.
Helena, Alabama. In reference to what you guys were talking about, you draw a line in the sand. If you decided in June what you weren't going to do, you stick to it. Whether they did it before or after, it doesn't matter. Okay. As a city, we don't have a lot of property to sell and to bring in businesses into Helena. Okay. We need to make sure that the property that we are using, that we are creating multifaceted areas that we're going to bring revenue into the city. If you saturate the market with the same types of business, you're not growing revenue, you're just splitting it, right? You're not getting any more dollars. You're just adding additional businesses that are doing the exact same thing, creating the exact same amount of dollars. We need to look at places that are going to create revenue for the city. We need to have a broad horizon. We don't need to saturate the market or saturate the tax dollars. So we need to look at areas that are franchise owners, franchise people that bring franchises in, create data research and market value of what businesses create the most tax dollars, and create a board that will chase those types of businesses. But I don't think we need to continue to add Mexican restaurants, pizza places, gas stations, oil changes. We need to create diversity to bring people into our city and give them a reason to come to Helena and spend their money here, not just have higher Helena restaurants.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this item? Please state your name and address, and please limit to 3 minutes.
It's Tom Stanberry, 146 Cedarburn Drive. I have a question for clarity. Is it the approval process that these two applications were in, or is it more of an inspection process? Because using the term approval means that you've already thought ahead and you're going to approve these two projects. Does that make sense?
It does. The The one down Highway 58, and I was not at the planning and zoning meeting. I was out of town for that one, but it was February of 2025. It was a preliminary site plan approval, and that passed at that time. They had some due diligence to work through with Shelby County Department of Transportation, and I think Kinder Morgan Pipeline that's adjacent and runs through part of the property. They have just completed that process and they're ready to move forward. Or I've been told by a colleague on Planning and Zoning Commission that they're ready to move forward on their next step, which eventually, unless they have any additional internal due diligence steps, would be permitting with the city, building permit with the city. The one by the Valvoline Express location between Seven Brew and the future Helena Pharmacy, that would be preliminary site plan approval to go forward to their next step, which would then be the building permit process.
So are those two projects already approved by city council or do they need city council approval?
Those do not go to city council until final site plan approval. Preliminary site plan just goes to planning and zoning. They've gone through that process. Next step would be building permit and inspections and that whole, the build out process with the city official. Then the final, and our building official's not here, but I might ask for him to clarify some of the steps on that. But the city council would have the final site plan approval at a later date.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
When I studied real estate law, a municipality cannot determine which businesses come in and which don't, unless there's an ordinance already in place that says there's a limit to the number of oil changes, or you can't have any vapes within 5,000 feet of a church or a school, something like that. So that takes some of the onus off of y'all. But I don't know. If these two projects were right at the end and the moratorium took that away, I would say grace is due. But I question right now, with the projects the way they are, if grace is warranted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stanberg. Any other, yes, certainly. And if you'll state your name and address, please.
Terry Shaw, Chateau Drive in Helena. Where on 95 and 58 are you talking about? Because if you're saying something about the churches, there's 3 churches. And is it where that gym was on the end? Where is it?
This is before. So if you're coming from 17, this is on the right-hand side of the road. I'm not sure if is it Pinhill Road? Pinhill Park, just past Pinhill Park. So it's across from a couple of the churches. And that property was actually, I shared some history with somebody recently, a couple of people recently, but when I moved here in 1999, when my wife and I moved here in 1999, that was, there was discussion of that being either a Bruno's or Food World grocery store at the time. And that may have been before when Dixie came and built the marketplace where Walmart Neighborhood Market is now. So it was zone B2 back to that time because it would have accommodated obviously would have accommodated a 56,000 square foot grocery store at the time. So this one's not a rezoning issue because it was already B2, but that's where it is.
I just don't know how you would fit all that in there. That's what, in my mind, I cannot visualize putting a hardware store and a gas station on 58 because, it just seems like it'd be way too crowded and everything. But I did know that was already B2, but I don't know why anybody didn't think ahead of time because you got all those those houses as you go into Pinhill Park, and it's across the street from them.
It would be, I think that,
When you're going toward 95 from
Yeah.
17, the white fences that you see on the side that have
Yeah.
very faded Hayden Properties sign,
Yeah.
that's the property we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, once again, I just think it's gonna make traffic even harder, more along that way in the morning. Anyway, thank you. I just wasn't sure exactly where on earth it was going to be. But thank you.
anyone else from the public wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. And this was a first reading, so there'll be a second reading of that one. Next item on our agenda is ordinance 1037-2026, amended, expanding the utility board from a 3-member board to a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 7 members. Councilman Wilson, do you want to take this item?
Yes, we agreed to just amend this ordinance to one particular thing. So in lieu of reading the entire 98 pages of it to you, the only change we're making is the section 12, part 1, down to subsection I. It's allowing the utility board to have a membership ranging from 3 to 7 members at their discretion and their vote. We don't control the actions of the utility completely, but we govern their body assembly. They have requested that they can add members. Currently, with 3, one member can't talk to another about an upcoming project without violating state law right now. So if we had an expansion of 5, and they're about to undertake major infrastructure projects that are long overdue, and I think additional input from members, not only from the industry, but also from the community being assigned to that board would be beneficial to everyone in the community. So that's our proposal, is to change that from 3 to give them leeway of 3 to 7 members.
Thank you, Councilman Wilson. Is there any council comment on this item? Did you want to do immediate consideration?
Yes, if it's proper, I would make a motion for immediate consideration so they can get moving forward with their business.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for immediate consideration. Madam Clerk, a roll call vote on immediate consideration for ordinance 1037-2026 amended.
Yes.
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 Okay, now we have that item before us. Is there any additional council discussion on ordinance 1037-206, expanding the utility board from a 3-member minimum to a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 7 members? Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny ordinance 1037, approve or deny on immediate consideration, ordinance 1037-2026 amended, expanding the utility board from a 3-member minimum to a minimum of 3 members and a maximum of 7 members.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 All right, the motion passes on immediate consideration. All right, next item on our agenda is to approve or deny the contract for the collection of disposal and solid waste in the city of Helena. This is a 1-year extension to the contract for garbage and recycling pickup that we have with Republic Services. Do you have any discussion here among council on this item?
I'll motion to approve, but I have some unreadiness.
Sorry.
I'll motion to approve, but I have some unreadiness. So-
Okay. Any additional questions or comments on this?
If I can just get a second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay.
Sorry, I was getting there and you,
All right.
so, yes, I'll second that.
Be ready.
All right.
Mr. President, my unreadiness on the agreement, if you go down to what appears to be section 1, I would like to amend the agreement, unless there's opposition, to strike the last sentence in the terms. And the sentence reads, thereafter, the agreement may be extended for 1 or 3 years upon mutual consent of the parties. So by striking the second sentence, the terms now read, the parties agree that the term of the agreement is hereby extended for an additional period of 1 year from its effective date until September 1st, 2027.
Thank you, Councilman McDaniels. And this is an item we discussed in our work session. We do want to put this, the waste disposal contract out for bid beginning in the early part of next year. So this proactively puts the burden on us to take that action. There won't be any option for renewal of the existing contract. So whether, if we will RFP, we will submit a request for proposal, and whether we go with Republic or another provider at that time, we will be executing a new contract. I think we all agree that's the best route to take. Any questions or comments from the public on this amendment? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Well, we have it approved.
Yeah.
As amended. Madam Clerk, we'll take a roll call vote.
Just one quick comment. We had a lengthy discussion at our work session earlier this evening in regard to this contract. None of us are thrilled with the increase. It is a cost of doing business at this time, unfortunately, but as President Dotson explained, we will be doing RFPs and making sure that we get the best program for our citizens. So at this time, I vote yes.
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 The motion passes and the contract is approved. The contract extension is approved. As amended, Thank you. Next item on our agenda is approve or deny the Shelby County Reporter, Helena the Magazine, FYE 2027 contract for 6 issues. Shelby County newspapers gave us 2 options for a 1-year extension on 2 different binding options. We're choosing we discussed in our work session, we plan to go with the lesser of those 2. It'll publish every other month instead of every month. This will produce a savings to us of about $40,000 and $45,000 annually. This is a 1-year extension as well, and similar to the waste disposal contract, we're going to initiate the process to RFP this production early part of next year as well. Any questions or comments here among council on this item?
President Dodson, I thought that we were going to push
I
this
got it.
and meet with,
Okay, we will, okay,
I got it. You can finish with the discussion.
okay,
Yeah, but I have a motion.
okay.
Mr. President, I motion for what I believe is a 2-week delay for the item to come back before the council at its September 14th work session.
Just remember, this will be a 3-week delay.
3-week delay for the item to come back before the council at its work session on September 14th. If you want it on the agenda, I can include that on the work session and the agenda. If that's your pleasure.
All right. So you're giving a motion to table it until the September 14th?
Yes, work
Okay.
session and city council meeting, if that's your pleasure.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Madam Clerk, the roll call
Just
vote.
say, and also, shout out to Alec. Etheridge for the, to come to that meeting as well, so we have ask questions for him. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Madam Clerk, a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 All right. So that item will be tabled until the September 14th meeting. Next on our agenda is period for public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone sign up for that? Thank you. All right. First on our public comment session, we have Winston Seeley. If you could please come forward and state your name and address, and reminder, just a 3-minute.
My name is Winston Seeley. I'm a disabled veteran. I was in the Army from 2002 to 2010. I retired out for injuries, staying in combat. I spent 39 months of my first 6.5 years on the front line. I got a couple disclaimers at first. I got 7 psych evals right here this year. Nobody's crazy. I got drug tests to go with it. I did how many years in the Army? I got plenty of friends that are law enforcement officers that have been helping me through this, coaching me through my investigation. So what am I here for tonight? Flock cameras. And the unaccountability for at the highest level of law enforcement in this county. My tag was flocked on April 2nd. Do you know what's crazy about April 2nd? I was homeless. Been homeless. But they searched my tag because I've been back here waiting to get my place. They searched my tag again on April 17th because I wouldn't continue to be a confidential informant to hit Haji shops because I got arrested or detained at first with my legal marijuana that I purchased in Florida because I am retired and it's 2026 and it does do something. So anyway, I was arrested. But obviously, you know, you can change the department and you can change your name, but, you know, misconduct is still obviously runs rampant over there in Hoover. I was detained on the way to custody court so I could not participate. They put warrants on me on the 17th. Do you know what else happened? Somebody at Shelby County Sheriff's Office flocked my tag. Why? Why would you do that? So you can learn my routes so that you can arrest me on the way to custody court. My question is, how did you even know I had a custody court that day in Jefferson County? I'm asking you all these questions. I already have the answer to them. But there is no accountability at all. I did 4 tours, and my buddies didn't die for these. Here we go. If it was used for legitimate law enforcement purposes, you wouldn't redact the information. It took you 12 days to get back to me. So you can cover it up. There's no covering it up. If you don't like those signs you saw today, those are the best ones I have. You're not going to like the next ones that are coming. How sad is it that we have come to a time when a man that's 100% housebound has to come do this because there's no accountability whatsoever? Well, according to County, they're about 1,000. No, they were all for all flock camera compliance. Because I have the also get into the relationship I found grandmother who hates me. Sheriff's not the only one get the woman lady. I don't spoil it all at once. See, everybody thinks that I think that's all right.
As a fellow vet and 100% disabled too. I'm with you. Well, you're up on your 3 minutes, boss man. Yes, sir. But thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seeley. Next, for public comment, we have Mrs. Frances Hines. Do you wish to speak again, Mrs. Hines? Mrs. Hines, do you wish to speak again? Okay, thank you. Next, we have Tom Stanberry.
Sure.
Sure.
Tom Stanberry, 146 Cedar Bend Drive. Mr. President, members of council, what's the relationship between accountability and transparency? An ancient Greek philosophy teacher asked his disciples how a ruler or members of the ruling class can prove they have nothing to hide. One disciple suggested opening his ledgers. Another suggested swearing in public. The teacher said, here's a clean, glass, clear jar. That's transparency. It weighs nothing. There are no secret compartments in there, and anyone can look from any angle and see what's in there. When you carry this with you into any decision, accountability requires no defense because there's nothing hidden behind it to explain. Another example, a present-day law school ethics teacher asked the students how a person can prove he or she has nothing to hide. After several students attempted answering the question, he puts or she puts a clear glass box on the desk and says, every action taken must fit into this box. Every elected official and every citizen should never take for granted that since he or she has good intentions, that everyone else should see the transparency and not look for accountability. Each of us should always have the glass jar or the glass box with us in every decision we make. When I posted this initial question on Facebook, Jake Rasmussen said, well, haven't you chat GPT the answer? I thought that was funny. And Councilman Wilson left a laughing emoji. The answer is no. Fact is, I scored the highest grade in the ethics class in law school. I didn't have to look it up. Someone was overheard saying, Tom never volunteers for anything. Well, I'm here volunteering to the council, to the mayor, to any department head to help put forward a plan to concretize transparency and accountability. I'm not saying it's not here. I'm not saying anyone is doing anything that they shouldn't be doing, but there's so many dark corners that we have that we could bring to light. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stanberry. Next, we have Mary Beth Lindsay. If you'll please state your name and address.
Mary Beth Lindsay, 821 Stonebridge Drive. As usual, I'm going to start by expressing my gratitude to you guys, the council, and the administration for allowing our citizens to be able to have this opportunity to speak. I don't take my First Amendment rights lightly, and I encourage everyone else to exercise them as well. I noticed something on tonight's work session agenda, and that was the discussion of Larry Thornton's book, Why Not Win? And I was unfamiliar with this text. So I appreciate Mr. Healy, I believe it was you that suggested that this be part of the discussion tonight. So I went ahead and read it, and I really, really enjoyed this text. But as I read, I kept coming back to a question that I want to ask each of you. Are we or were we planning on discussing this book tonight because we intend to practice the principles, or because of leadership, or practice the principles of leadership books, or are we, is it easier to discuss leadership than it is to actually demonstrate that in practice? Thornton's leadership philosophy emphasizes relationships, personal accountability, integrity, consistency, and the importance of learning from conflicting opinions. For our mayor and city council, I would add that transparency, as Mr. Sansbury commented earlier, also aligns with this philosophy. One of my biggest personal takeaways from Thornton's philosophy is the work hard, relate harder concept. So as for you elected and appointed officials, relate harder should really mean listening to people who do not always agree with you, not just those who reinforce decisions that you've already made. Put simply, leadership isn't really tested when everyone in the room agrees with you. It is tested when somebody doesn't. And listening, by the way, that doesn't require agreement. Good leadership means genuinely considering opposing information, asking difficult questions, and transparency, again, that transparency word, on why a decision is ultimately made. Thornton's text repeatedly emphasizes personal accountability. The Why Not Win Institute, which is his institute on his website, literally describes its mission as professional development with emphasis on personal accountability. But here's the thing, though. Accountability should not and cannot only flow downward. Just because a person is in a leadership position doesn't mean that that person shouldn't be held accountable for their actions and decisions. Elected officials are ultimately accountable to the citizens they represent and serve. That's all of you guys. That's all of us in Helena. Good and productive organizations do not fear people who bring uncomfortable information into the room. Sometimes the person demonstrating the greatest loyalty to the organization is the one who has the courage and the willingness to stand up and speak and say, this decision is going to potentially cost more than you think, and this policy may cause harm. So what kind of leadership culture are we creating for Helena? Do we actually value conflicting opinions? Do we want knowledgeable citizens to participate, identify problems, ask difficult questions, and propose solutions? I fervently hope that this discussion goes beyond the pages of this book and tonight's meeting, because this question isn't about whether we can recognize good leadership qualities and principles when we read them. This question is whether we have the courage. I'm almost done. This question is whether we have the courage to practice them, and whether somebody challenges us. And if you're not going to ask why not, if you are going to ask why not when,
Thank you.
then perhaps you should also.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay.
If I may.
Yes. Councilman Healy.
Hi. Ms. Lindsay, I met Larry 3 weeks ago. I had a great sit down with him and his assistant Gary. One of the things that we talked about was bringing that into our school systems, bringing it into the libraries, and practicing a lot of what he is teaching. I was moved talking with him, and we were going to bring it up tonight and talk about it and introduce it, because it's a program that's going to take a little while to get into either the school systems, not long to get into the library systems, but into the schools too, because I think it's fascinating reading. I've read it and I'm reading it again in case I missed something. So I am trying to push it forward. Matter of fact, Mr. Pascal and I spoke Saturday about it. I introduced it to him. We just happened to run into each other in Pelham. And so I want to bring it forward. And this is the infant stage tonight. I shared the website link, and I'll share it with anybody else that had a lot more data on what the project is on Why Not Win Institute. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to bring it here, because right now he focuses hardcore. I'm sure you saw in the Black Belt. He's put this program into Montgomery. umpteen universities across the country. And I think it's something that we should do here. And that's why I brought it forward tonight to start. But unfortunately, because of time, I pushed it to the next one. Thank you. Thank you. Mhm. We talked to our reporter here. She and I are going to get together and kind of see what we can do to put the message out there as well, and through the Shelby County process to get out. There's some steps that have to do. It's just the Why Not Institute. I'm sure you looked at it. It's a pretty big organization, and I encourage everybody to go and read Why Not Win. He got the title from watching the NBA Finals. He saw a sign that said, you know, we're here, we made the playoffs, we got to play the game, so why not win? And so I highly recommend it for anybody, and I'm trying to put it to the schools. Thank you for bringing it up.
Next, for public comment, we have Joanne Kaniensberg. Did I get that right this time? Yeah. Oh, thank you.
My name is Joanne Kaniensberg. I'm a resident of the Silver Lakes community in Helena. Silver Lakes has been in the Helena municipality since 2008. We have 420 homeowners approximately, and we do not get the Helena magazine. It's gone back and forth over the years. The previous administration, we got the magazine. We delivered our mailing list to them. We don't get it. So if the reporters producing magazines for us, they're who knows where. So just to keep that in mind for your next contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kaniensberg. We did discuss that in our work session to make sure that we get it. Councilwoman Hammond, it's
35022.
35022 zip code should be receiving that. We're going to make sure that that's going out to all of our residents in Helena. All right. That's it for public comment. Next item on our agenda is our council comments. And tonight I will begin with Councilman McDaniels.
That's two meetings in a row, Mr. President.
I thought you were last.
But that's okay. I'm up for it. Right. One, I would like to say we should find an opportunity before Dr. Lewis Brooks retires to bring him before this council. I think as a superintendent, he's been a friend of Helena. And I think it would mean a lot to acknowledge him before he separates from the school district in that capacity. Today, I don't know what trip around the sun this is, but I would like to wish Mrs. Joy Childers a happy birthday. She was a mainstay at City Hall during my days of just trying to get, I guess it would be a peddler's permit for a garage sale. But I want to wish her the best as she enjoys her birthday today. Mr. President, I want to deviate for a second. I think there are times that even in the spirit of discussion or debate, it is okay to be disagreeable, but in our disagreement, there should be decorum. So, you know, personally, if a person reaches their 3 minutes, one or two things should happen. They should be gavelled out of order, or someone should move to suspend the rules, and it carries and it allows them to extend their time. I think it diminishes the value of this body to go into a back and forth dialogue with constituents. As the governing body, we have at least the principles of what government or governance should represent. So just food for thought going forward, because there's going to come a time, and I know this may cause some discomfort, but there's going to come a time when someone is unruly and you're going to have that person removed. I would hope that doesn't happen, but ideally, you know, freedom of speech oftentimes is taken as absolute, and it is not, especially if it's inflammatory. But moving away from that, This is a question and it's rhetorical in nature. As citizens of this city, how do we want to be identified and what do we want our city to look like? We can amend laws as much as we like to fit a situation or a person, but ultimately, what is the character that we desire for this city? And at some point, we have to dig our heels in. I can't tell you as an individual, I hold that by myself. And what I do believe is that there are people out there who can help us. We're trying to go at this alone. So what happens? We keep doing the same thing, looking for different results. And by the time we have it all built out, it doesn't look like the city that we desire. So we continue to have the leakage of money, of disposable revenue going to other municipalities. Through my lens, Bessemer, Hoover, Alabaster, or any of the surrounding cities aren't any better than Helena, but they all benefit from the citizens of Helena. So at some point, we're going to have to do the tough work. We don't have to settle for any business. I think there is a standard that we must stand by and be comfortable with it. It may not be a business today, but there is a business who will seek Helena and be well and do well by its citizens. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councilman McDaniels, and so noted on your comments on public speakers. Next, Councilman Healy.
I wanted to send my heartfelt to Jace's family. I'm thank y'all for coming out tonight. When I heard the news, I was sad, and I talked to Coach Miller immediately, called him up, and so my heart goes out to you and the family. So thank you for coming tonight. I know it was hard. To my fellow vet back there, thank you. I beat some of the same sands you have and laid down and got the same sand fleas. And thank you for coming out tonight and talking to us. I appreciate that more than you know. The citizens here, I love when y'all come out. It's open. Ms. Hines and I had a pleasure of talking this morning, and I thank you for the phone call. Sorry I didn't call this weekend. I was building a ramp for somebody, so I was way out in the woods in Alabaster. So I want to thank you for that, coming out tonight. Thank you, Pastor, for coming out and handing out the library. You know, that's where I want to start this, getting those books into. Ms. Lindsay, thank you. I'm glad you read the book. It means a lot. I appreciate that because it was something that I was really moved by. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I have to mention that the Kiwanis Club, Helena Kiwanis Club, will be cleaning up the Boundless Playground this weekend and replace some of the damaged equipment. So if you have any questions, please see Mr. Miller right there. He'll answer you. And that's about it. I will end this and go from there. But thank y'all for coming out. If I missed anybody, I apologize, but thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Healy. Councilman Wilson.
I came to the meeting tonight with a heavy heart, just because of Jace's family. I asked Miller to read this because I knew I couldn't. It's difficult to lose a child. It's even more difficult to lose a member of family, which is what I consider the wrestling community to be. And from all accounts, Jace was a tremendous young man, and he had a future in front of him. And I think this community has suffered a great loss. And if you didn't have a chance to meet him, you really missed out. So I thank you for coming tonight. Additionally, I want to direct a comment to Frances. Frances Hines is a treasure to this community, and I love her dearly. And going to leadership, it's the most difficult task there is, because Dennis Wilson, as a person who has sat at Miss Hines' table and ate some of the best cake ever, wants to do everything in the world for her. But I'm charged with taking care of this city as a whole, and the responsibilities that come with that are not fun at times. And I think that Frances and I understand each other enough to understand that we're going to get crossways from time to time. I have nothing but respect for her, and I will do everything that I'm legally able to do to help and protect her. But my first duty is to look out for the interests of this city, and I hope people can grow to understand that. it's not an easy job, and I think I lost my mind when I decided to run for office, honestly. I thought I knew what I was getting into, but I really had no idea. That's the God's honest truth. I want to be transparent. I want to be accountable for every decision that I make. But I don't want to suffer from analysis paralysis. I'd like for you to give us the grace to trust us to do the job that we did. I welcome your input. I welcome your advice. But give us a chance to do what you elected us to do. That's all I'm asking for. And I appreciate this room being nearly full tonight. It means the world to me that you guys care so much about this community. And we're not always going to agree on everything, but we can definitely work together and take Helena where we want it to be. So with that, please try to make the trip to Moody Thursday night and support our football team. It's the first game of the season. My son plays on that team. I would appreciate the support. It could be a tough year for them. I don't know. But I know that having people in the stands cheering for them will definitely help. So with that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and God bless you.
Thank you, Councilman Wilson. Councilwoman Hammond.
Thank you, President Dodson. From one mom to another who's lost a child, it took a lot for you to be here tonight. And I'm proud of you. I didn't know Jace, but from what I've heard from my fellow councilmen and other citizens, he was amazing. Keep that close to your heart and just cherish every moment. Thanks again for coming tonight. Thank you. I see lots of new faces tonight. Some I know, some I don't know. And it means the world to me to see you here, to speak up, to share your concerns. Like Francis said, if you don't tell us, we don't know. So thank you for coming out and sharing your concerns, whether you just were here to support by physically being here or you got up and shared. That means the world to me. It takes a lot sometimes to ask the difficult questions. I try to do that. I try to do that for you as the citizens, because that's my transparency piece to you as trying to ask the questions to get the answers that are rumbling around in your brains, sometimes on your fingertips and the keyboard. But I'm always here to ask those questions for you. Please reach out to me at any time. And I think it goes for any of the council. We're all available. So thank you. Have a great week. Stay cool, and God bless.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hammond. And that leaves me, I would also like to reiterate, everything we've heard about Jason McGuire, and didn't have the pleasure of meeting him either, but it sounds like he was a true treasure to this community, and we're grateful for y'all being here tonight on his behalf. And our prayers are with your family going forward. Several of us campaigned, or all of us campaigned on improving transparency, improving public access to comment in these meetings, and broken record, but I was a history major in college, and I saw all sides of what our patriots fought against from the British crown, and I saw, as I got to college, the Cold War was coming to an end, and I saw nations that their citizens didn't know free speech. They got to experience free speech for the first time in 1989 through 92. So I don't like to use this except to open or close meetings. I don't like to gavel people who are speaking, because I do think that that's one of those rights endowed by our Creator to speak here. I do ask for some decorum towards this council, towards our mayor, towards our department heads, towards our city, towards our community as a whole when you are speaking to us. And, if you are not able to say all you need to say in 3 minutes, catch me after the meeting and I'll speak, I'll hear everything else you have to say. But it is very important to me. Free speech is kind of the foundation for all of the other rights that we have to fight to protect in this republic, because it's a work in progress. This republic is. This city council is just a unit of that government, of that republic. I appreciate all of you being here and speaking, reaching out to us via email, however you wish to speak to us, even if you're addressing us on Facebook. I appreciate it. It's part of the process. Thanks again for coming out tonight, and this meeting is adjourned.